Well, welcome to Miller Park. It's the final homestand of the 2010 season. Your final chance to do some tailgating and see some baseball as well. Reds coming into Miller Park looking anything like a big red machine in the month of September, while the crew hopes they can get some lumber woken up in their own ballpark here in their final homestand. Hi, everybody. Alongside David Nelson, I'm Craig Kishon. Our coverage of Brewers baseball continues here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Now, Davey, we saw some great pitching on the road trip. The bats a little bit quiet, except for Ryan Braun, who continues to be unbelievable in Major League Baseball since August 1st.
Boy, I tell you what, he's just swinging the bat very well. And you just look at those numbers right now, and he's telling you how hot he is.
388, the power number is certainly there, 27 RBIs as well. But as we take a closer look at his hitting, especially in the month of September, I mean, he has a chance to do some real big things here before the next 2 weeks.
Well, he certainly does, you know, and I was talking with Dusty Baker during batting practice, and he asked me, he said, hey, is Ryan Braun, he's really hot, huh? I said, yeah, he really is. And he said, you know what? You knew it was going to happen because this guy's just too good a hitter to really be in a slump all year.
Well, the Reds pitching staff has controlled the crew in the season series. They've won 7 of 8, and it might be time for payback as the Brewers look to pitch in against the Cincinnati Hurlers. B and Rock take it a first pitch when we come back.
Of a Cardinals loss or a Reds win that equals 7, they will head to the postseason for the first time since 1995. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us tonight. We're excited about this series because it's going to be the first of 6 against Cincinnati. And while the Brewers were eliminated from postseason officially, they still can have a lot to say in what happens here the rest of the way.
Well, and the pitching certainly has been the thing to talk about so far. The month of September has been a very good month for the Brewers starting rotation. And when you look at the starters since September 1st, there aren't too many teams that have been better. The Brewers at a 262 starters earned run average, after a season of major inconsistency. September 1st, has been a line in the sand for this rotation, and some very good pitching performances on the last road trip where the Brewers went 3-3. Chris Capuano, outstanding in Houston. He has made 3 very good starts. Randy Wolf, his last 10 starts have been very good. A complete game shutout, his first of the year. And Giovanni Gallardo, after coming off the disabled list and some shaky starts, he has been very good. 3 starts in a row, and Yo threw very well. 1 run, 7 innings in San Francisco. So if the Brewers hope to do any damage against this Reds ball club, it's going to come down to the starters.
Well, it'll be Homer Bailey on the mound for Cincinnati. He's pitching for a postseason roster spot. Meanwhile, Capuano returns to the bump. Baseball coming up next from Miller Park. Stay with us. How about that Brewers logo in the water there? That's pretty neat.
Yeah, how do they do that?
I don't know. It's amazing. The talent is in the truck, as we like to say. Dusty Baker and Ken Maka exchanging the lineups with the crew chief, Joe West, the home plate umpire here tonight. This will be the final homestand of the year. It's 3 against the Reds, 4 against the Florida Marlins. And we certainly hope you'll make plans to be with us before we wrap up baseball in Milwaukee this summer. Subway lineup for Dusty Baker, Brandon Phillips, Orlando Cabrera, and Joey Votto. And then it's Scott Rowland, Johnny Gomes, and Drew Stubbs in the middle. Then Baker has Ryan Hannigan, Chris Heisey, and Homer Bailey at the bottom of the order. And that lineup will face Chris Capuano, and as Rock mentioned in the open, he is trying to continue what has been a terrific month of September for starting pitching.
Yeah, and he's making his 7th start of the year and 22nd appearance. His last 3 starts have been very good. He's been able to eat up 18 in the 3rd innings, giving up only 5 earned runs, but unfortunately the bats haven't been there for him. He's only 1-2 in that stretch.
Now for a scouting report on Chris Capuano, we go to the opposing manager, Reds manager Dusty Baker. Here's what he had to say.
You know he has good stuff, and I've seen him at his best because we were in the same division with him for a long time when I was with Chicago. And, if his arm's healthy, this guy can pitch. And, he's going to crowd you with some fastballs. He has an excellent changeup. He has a great pickoff move first base. He's a pretty good hitter. He's a quality athlete.
And as you mentioned, that changeup has been the big pitch for Chris Capuano. And nice words from Dusty Baker. And those years with the Brewers and the Cubs matching up. And Dusty Baker seeing quite a bit of Chris Capuano, who right now is pitching as well as he has throughout his career.
Now the Brewers are hoping the left-hander can neutralize a pretty dominant left-handed hitting lineup. Here's the defense behind Capuano tonight. Braun, Gomez, and Hart in the outfield. It is McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder around the horn with a battery of Jonathan Lucroy and Capuano, the Blaines Farm and Fleet. Brewers defense and Carlos Gomez. He has played well. He has been able to find his way into that Brewers lineup just about every day, and he continues to swing the bat. He continues to get on base. Ryan Braun coming off a great series in San Francisco, and not just with his bat, but with his glove as well. And we are ready to go here tonight. Ken Maka and the Brewers ready to kick off the final homestand of the season. Joe West, Angel Hernandez, Dan Bellino, and Rob Drake are the umpires. The crew chief is Joe West behind the plate. Brandon Phillips takes the ball, and that's how we get started here tonight. Former Gold Glove second baseman Brandon Phillips might have a chance at a Gold Glove this year. Phillips, an all-star this season. 272 hitter with 16 homers, 52 runs batted in.
Yeah, having a tough time right now. And last time the Brewers were in town, he was out of the lineup. He got hit by a pitch against San Francisco, and he really hasn't been swinging the bat all that well. Still hasn't found that rhythm.
And on a hop to Escobar. Long throw is in time. Phillips retired and one away in the first.
Man, what's new? A changeup by Capuano. That has been a good pitch for him in his last 3 starts. When he's able to throw that for strikes, he's ordinarily going to have a nice night. When he struggles, he throws it out of the zone. Always important to find the confines of the inside and outside corner. You throw that ball over the plate, you're going to get some swings. If it's off the corners, they're going to let it go.
Capuano facing Orlando Cabrera. The Reds shortstop back in the lineup. There was a time there when Dusty Baker was having a hard time getting his Keystone combination together because of injury, whether it be Cabrera or Brandon Phillips. But that's the balance a manager has to weigh here down the stretch. The Reds have a 6.5 game lead. You want to secure the division, but you also want to make sure you get enough rest. And then where do you head if it tightens up a little bit? And that's where the Brewers come in. They'd love nothing more than to press Cincinnati down the stretch here with 6 more games remaining against the Cincinnati Reds. Of the final 12 the Reds will play.
Man, it's going to be important for Dusty Baker to give Brandon Phillips and Cabrera enough playing time to get hot for the postseason. Let's say for the sake of argument that they're going to get in. I mean, it's going to be a serious collapse by the Reds and an unbelievable run for the Cardinals for the Reds not to be in. But some of these guys have been hurt. They need to play. They need some playing time.
Into left center, Gomez will run it down for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Chris Capuano. That will send to the plate Joey Votto. Now Votto just having a great season, a career year for Joey Votto. The Triple Crown is really not a factor anymore in the National League. He and Carlos Gonzalez and Albert Pujols throughout the season and the midsummer certainly challenging the Triple Crown. There hasn't been one since the 30s in the National League. But Votto's numbers good enough for top 3 across the board in the power categories.
Yeah, Joey Votto is going to have a tough time catching Carlos Gonzalez for the batting average. Gonzalez at 340, and that's going to be, keeping anybody away from that. Albert Pujols has the home runs, but Joey Votto right in there. He's had a tremendous season.
It's unlikely that Gonzalez can catch Pujols. You never know the way the Rockies are going right now. As Votto takes a called strike 3, Joe West rings up Votto and gets barked at early here tonight. Good start for Capuano. 3 up, 3 down with a backwards K. Brewers batting order turned in by Ken Maka. It's brought to you by Subway. Ricky Weeks, Corey Hart, and Ryan Braun at the top. Prince Fielder hits 4th, followed by Casey McGee and Carlos Gomez. And the bottom of the order is Alcides Escobar, Jonathan Lucroy, and Chris Capuano. And that lineup to face Homer Bailey.
Yeah, here's a guy that spent a lot of time on a disabled list. Inflammation in his right shoulder. He's back now, making only his 17th start of the year. He's 0-2 career against the Brewers. No record this year, but he's made 2 starts. One good one not so good.
Now Bailey had to exit his last start with a bout of dizziness, and that has the Reds a little bit concerned. It is not a guarantee that Homer Bailey will be on the Reds postseason roster, so this is a huge start for him tonight. He most certainly will not be in the starting rotation for Cincinnati. And he is pitching for perhaps a bullpen spot in the postseason if the Reds get there. Ricky Weeks leads off. 27 homers this season, 79 driven in.
Well, he certainly got the arm. Does Homer Bailey. Just inconsistency at the big league level. He's had a tough time staying in the major leagues for an entire season. He's got a big arm, low to mid 90s fastball, very good slider, and a decent changeup. And he's one of those guys that uses his fastball quite a bit. His last start against the Arizona Diamondbacks, he was pitching pretty well, but had to come out with that dizziness. Not sure what the cause was. He just felt like he wasn't right. So Cincinnati pulled him, and that's the last thing he needed when he's trying to find a spot on that postseason roster.
Yeah, that occurred last Wednesday. But Bailey able to make his start here tonight. Only 3 innings against Arizona last Wednesday and just 83 pitches. Well, I say just, but that's a lot of pitches for 3 innings. Let's put it that way. So it was going to be an early exit for Homer Bailey anyway. But at this point of the year, as a starting pitcher, you're still trying to build up. Bailey's been on the disabled list most of the season. As Weeks bangs one back up the middle. So Ricky Weeks singles to get it started. Check the Reds defensively. They've been a very good defensive team this year. Gomes, Stubbs, and Heisey in the outfield. Their infield is superb with Roland, Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto. 3 of the 4 with Gold Gloves. And Ryan Hannigan, a defensive specialist behind the plate, catching Homer Bailey. Homer Bailey has had problems with his right shoulder. He was on the disabled list for nearly 3 months. Did not return to the Reds until mid-August. Facing Corey Hart with a man on. Weeks at first base. Homer Bailey is a guy you can run on as well. The Brewers will certainly try to take advantage of a slow delivery to home plate. Hannigan is a good throwing catcher for Cincinnati.
And Brewers had a good game stealing bases the last time Bailey was out on the mound in Cincinnati.
Little bouncer out to Phillips. Thought about second. He'll take the easy out at first. First out, and Weeks advances to second base. Well, here comes Ryan Braun. He homered yesterday. Powerball home run number 23 for Ryan Braun. He's been on a bit of a home run binge. He's swung the bat as well as anyone in baseball since August 1st. And he's looking for a great finish. You see the Powerball home run leaderboard. Prince Fielder still leading the way with 30 home runs this year. He's been stuck on 30 for quite a while, however. Fielder's last home run came on the 5th of September.
Yeah, runs have been hard to come by for the Crew. You take away that 8-run outburst in Houston on Wednesday, that extra inning game. The Brewers won 8-1. The team hasn't really been scoring a lot of runs in a month. Talked about how good the starting pitching has been, but the offense has been sputtering, to say the least.
Now Braun has 3 home runs in his last 7 games. He has been the one consistent bat day in, day out for the Brewers since the beginning of August. Ryan Braun, the first player in franchise history to hit 20-plus homers in each of his first 4 seasons. And he has an outside chance to get to 30 again. He'd have to really go with 14 games left, but he's capable of that.
Yeah, it gets hot, you never know, but he'd certainly like to get that 100 RBIs. He's 9 away. I think 30 home runs. It might be a bit of a stretch, but certainly the way he has swung the bat since the beginning of August, he's got that batting average up to 306. That was an incredible rise.
Be some kind of rally if he could get to 100 RBIs and if he could push 30 homers. Let's put it this way. If he gets to 30 homers, he'll get to 100 RBIs. He's 7 home runs away from 30 with 14 to play, including tonight.
And you remember toward the latter part of July, Ryan Braun was in the low 270s. And for him to raise his average 30 points with all the at-bats that he has had, that tells you how hot he's been.
Well, July 30th, he was hitting 273. But that has been the story for Braun. And you got to give him a lot of credit. He said earlier this year it has been the most challenging season for him ever in this game. You know, he's a guy, and Dale Swain pointed it out early, he's a guy who's never really struggled at this game. He's always excelled, whether it was high school at Granada Hills in Los Angeles or whether it was in college at the University of Miami, even through the minor leagues in his first 3 seasons in the big leagues. Never went through the kind of funk he was in earlier this season.
And it got to him for a while, but he was able to snap out of it.
His bat has been impressive. His glove has been impressive as well. Had some diving catches this year. Maybe the best catch he has ever made in San Francisco yesterday. They were still buzzing about that play at the batting cage today. As Braun swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. And 2 men are out. A scouting report on Homer Bailey comes from hitting coach Dale Swain.
He's really aggressive with his fastball. Likes his fastball a lot, anywhere from 92 to 96. Not a lot of movement, a little bit of cut on his fastball. Uses his slider a little more than his curveball to right-handers. He's going to use his changeup to left-handers, move the ball in and out both sides. But he's very aggressive with his fastball to both left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters. He's the kind of guy you got to take advantage of.
Well, you saw him throw that fastball 93 miles an hour right by Ryan Braun. He could be a little bit sneaky with that fastball, especially when it's up in the strike zone.
And Dale Swain mentioned he likes using the fastball. 70% fastballs from Homer Bailey this season. So he's relied on that big heater. Prince Fielder batting with 2 outs. Weeks out at second. As Homer Bailey buzzes the tower against Prince.
Yep, Hannigan wanted it upstairs. He got it up, but just a little bit inside.
Now Fielder hitting .269 to start the day. 30 homers, 76 driven in. Has yet to homer against Cincinnati this year. He's hoping to change all that with 6 games remaining against their division rival. Everybody wants to finish strong, that's for sure. It can take you deep into the offseason if you finish the season swinging the bat well if you're a position player, pitching well if you're on the mound. Otherwise, those can be some excruciating months as you lead up to spring training.
You know, I think the only statistic really that is going to be disappointing for Prince as the season winds down are the RBIs. His on-base percentage over 400. 30 home runs, that's a nice season this year. It's all relative. Major League leader, I should say the National League leader has 39, so it's a down year as far as home runs go. Has been very patient at the plate, and it's a good idea tonight, given what looks like the strike zone for Joe West so far. Very tight.
Full count, 2 outs. Fielder trying to drive in Weeks from second base. And that one is low. Fielder draws the walk. The league leader in that category keeps it alive here in the first inning. 2 on now for the Brewers. And here comes Casey McGee.
That was walk number 100 for the big fella. That's a nice milestone every year. Back-to-back seasons for Prince.
Yeah, the Brewers had not had a player reach 100 walks until last season. Jeremy Burnett had a 99 walk season. But Fielder the first to triple digits, and now he's done it in back-to-back years.
And those walk totals, one of the reasons why Casey McGee stands right now at 94 RBIs. Men on base, and Casey's done a nice job throughout the year driving them in.
Chris Capuano, maybe something with his mechanics that he is trying to figure out after the first inning.
Stand loose.
Stand loose. Doing a little, you know how they say air guitar? That's a little air pitching right there. Well, McGee has been good in spots like this all season. 2 outs with runners in scoring position. Casey McGee hitting .329, 33 RBIs. As you see his season numbers. Boy, it would be something if McGee could get to the 100 RBI plateau. That one skips away, not far enough for Weeks to advance. McGee is the club leader in runs batted in. Then Hart and Braun tied for second, with Weeks and Fielder rounding it out. Those are familiar faces and names at the top of most of the offensive categories for the Brewers. The first 5 hitters in this lineup, whether it be home runs or RBIs, walks.
And missed badly with that pitch. It looked like Hannigan wanted it upstairs, and Bailey missed down and away. Command always an issue for Homer Bailey.
So his 24th pitch of the inning. 2 on, 2 out. The runners will get a head start with a pitch.
Now you remember it was Homer Bailey on the mound when the Brewers stole 4 bases in 7 innings against the Reds, and remember who one of them was? Randy Wolf. So he's a guy, Homer Bailey, you can run on. You can take advantage of his slow delivery.
You know things are bad when a pitcher starts stealing bases on you.
Uncontested.
And there was a scene at first base we found out later from Ed Cedar, the first base coach. Now Joey Votto is in earshot of this entire conversation, and Randy Wolf saying, I think I can make it. And Ed Cedar's giving him the numbers, how fast he is to home plate. Says, I think he can too. So he takes off and he steals second. There go the runners, and McGee strikes out. The inning is over. Chase ball 4. Well, the Brewers strand a pair. A long inning though for Bailey. We head to the second.
It's 1995, and you can see what they've been able to do versus the Brewers as opposed to other teams in the National League. They actually lead the league with 4.95 runs, and against the Brewers, 6.95. So 6.75, excuse me. So the Reds have definitely had their way with the Brewers so far this year. In 8 meetings, they have won 7 of those, but they haven't faced the pitching that the Brewers have been able to put together as of late. So we'll see what happens this series and the next 3 in Cincinnati.
Now the Reds are 7-1 against Milwaukee this year. It's hard to believe the Reds have dominated the Brewers as they have this season, including that sweep in Cincinnati. No balls, 2 strikes on Scott Rowland. Back in the starting lineup. Rowland, little lazy fly ball out to Braun. And 1 away. Rowland is really a key for Cincinnati moving forward. He has been nursing a bit of tightness in his back, and his back has been a problem throughout the last few years of his career. But he has been, for the most part, healthy this year, and he's playing at a Gold Glove caliber at third base once again. He looks like the Scott Rowland of old this season.
And I'll tell you what, he has really played a nice third base. We've seen him make some nice plays, some good ranges. His throwing arm next to none. I mean, he's right on the money with every one of his throws, and certainly a candidate for the comeback player of the year. There's a lot of them in the National League, just like there are a lot of candidates for the Rookie of the Year. Comeback player of the year is going to be a close race this year.
And some key comebacks by players who are propelling their teams toward the postseason. You think about Tim Hudson with the Atlanta Braves, and what a year he is having for Atlanta. He's a guy that could win the Cy Young and the comeback player of the year when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Billy Wagner, a guy that had a nice season. Scott Rowland. Now you would figure that Rowland's going to play until the Reds clinch magic number 7, and once that happens, when and if it happens, then you'd figure Rowland to get some isolated days off.
There's a hot shot to left, a base hit. Braun will cut it off. Gomes is going to stop it first. Good play by Braun. Those are the little things that Braun has been doing, and an appreciative crowd here at Miller Park gives him a hand for it.
The one thing you cannot lay on the Brewers is lack of hustle, and just being lethargic defensively, lethargic running down the lines. They hustle all the time, and you don't expect anything less, but you see it around the league. Johnny Gomes has been a nice surprise for this Reds club with 83 RBIs, hitting around 300. He's been a nice consistent in that lineup behind Scott Rowland.
Always kind of thought of as a backup player, pinch hitter, utility guy, but he has evolved as an everyday player, and he's put up the numbers to back it up too. The speedy Drew Stubbs. Speaking of nice years, here's a guy hitting primarily in the bottom of this Reds order, bouncing around between 6th, 7th, or 8th, with 19 homers and 70 runs batted in. So big power numbers from Drew Stubbs. His batting average is a little lower than the Reds would hope for at 249. He's so fast. He's almost a double waiting to happen if he reaches first base.
He strikes out quite a bit. The Reds would like him to cut those down. And as fast as he is, you make contact, you put the ball on the ground, you get some infield hits.
He's a tough guy to double up for that reason. Takes a hot shot right at an infielder. But Braun's playing left field still gives Capuano the opportunity at a double play.
Yeah, and with the move that Capuano has over there at first base, I mean, he's got one of the better moves. That'll keep that runner close.
1 ball, 1 strike on Stubbs. Hit hard right field. Corey Hart drifting back at the track in front of the wall, and that ball is gone. Drew Stubbs, opposite field home run, and the Reds have a 2-0 lead. That is an out in most ballparks this time of year, but that short porch and right, Stubbs takes advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly is a Miller Park Airtran landing zone home run right there. Off the end of the bat, he got under it, just kept going, just kept carrying as it got to the corner and right, and just falls over the other side of the wall. Well, a tough break for Capuano. And Corey Hart tried to go up, but just could not do it.
So Stubbs hits his 20th home run of the season, 2-0 Reds. And here is Ryan Hanigan now. Well, what a year it's been. When we saw Cincinnati on the last road trip in Cincinnati, there was talk that Stubbs might lose his job. There was talk that Jim Edmonds might take over on an everyday basis if he could stay healthy. Stubbs was struggling.
Yeah, he was. When we got to the Brewers got to Cincinnati, he was striking out a lot, really not making much contact. But again, Jim Edmonds was not able to stay healthy. He's back now, though.
Edmonds had an oblique injury. Did it while at the plate. And he has just returned to the lineup. And he's available. Edmonds says he's 100%. He's good to go. He's not in the starting lineup here tonight, but Dusty Baker has him available. And about 30 others if he needs to call on the bench tonight.
Yeah, 11 extra players on the bench to go with 13 pitchers in the bullpen. A small army for the Cincinnati Reds here at Miller Park. For $40, get 1 field outfield ticket to select Brewers games and a $25 Potawatomi Bingo Casino Restaurant gift card. Some restrictions apply. For details, visit brewers.com/Potawatomi.
2-run home run by Drew Stubbs has the Reds on top early. Cardinals already lost today. They were shut out by the Marlins 4-0. And every time St. Louis rolls out Chris Carpenter like they did today, Adam Wainwright, and they don't win, it's one more nail in their postseason hopes.
Right. That's amazing that the Cardinals have been so bad for this long of a stretch with that pitching that they have. Albert Pujols has been stuck on 39 home runs for a while too.
And the Cardinals have decided to shut down Jaime Garcia. The third part of that triple threat on the mound. Hard to believe the Cardinals have faltered so. And you got to give a lot of credit to the Reds. They're struggling a bit now. They just lost a series to Houston. But the Reds put the hammer down when they needed to. Kind of all started once they were swept in Cincinnati by the Cardinals, that bench clearing brawl. St. Louis lined up their top 3 pitchers. They won all 3 games in that series. After that, the Reds caught fire and were able to rip off 8 games in the standings in a 3-week stretch.
Not easy to do.
They went from 1 down to 7 up in the blink of an eye. And today they again play 6.5 games ahead of the Cardinals. So Capuano with his second strikeout. Punches out Chris Heisey for the second out of the inning.
Yep, lulled him to sleep with a number of changeups. Then he went with the fastball, got a lot of the plate with it, but able to sneak it by him at 88 miles an hour.
And the pitcher, Homer Bailey, will hit. Bailey swings it pretty well. 6 hits this season. He's 6 for 28, a .214 batting average. No batting gloves. You don't see many pitchers go up there with no gloves. It's like Dave Bush. See, pitchers aren't so delicate, Rock. Occasionally, you'll even see one of them up there with no batting gloves. Of course, it might be that he just forgot. You don't know.
And he's got the arrow tattoo on his forearm. What does that mean?
I'm not sure, but you can imagine as he ages, that arrow might be pointing in all kind of directions.
Might be sagging a little bit, maybe.
Might not be such a straight line in about 40 years. That would be a broken arrow on the elderly Homer Bailey's forearm.
It is. It's a good looking arrow, though.
Hey, Granddad, what's up with that wobbly arrow on your arm?
It used to be straight.
Home on LaGrange, Texas, Central Texas. And a high school phenom down there. Signed by Johnny Alvarez, one of the great scouts, now with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, first round draft choice. And you've been hearing about Homer Bailey for what, 4 or 5 years now with the Cincinnati Reds. Always thought of as a can't miss pitcher up here in the big leagues, but he has struggled.
Well, he strikes out to end the inning. Back-to-back Ks for Capuano, but Drew Stubbs delivers a 2-run homer, and it's 2-0. Stubbs delivers a 2-run home run for the Reds in the second inning. The Reds have the lead. And our CarSoup.com email the booth question comes from Fred in Rice Lake. What has been more of a surprise with the Reds, their hitting or their pitching, Rock?
I think they're hitting. I think that their pitching has been average throughout the year. Their starting rotation has been up and down. You know, Francisco Cordero is a guy that will drive you crazy. Yeah, they're 9th in the league in earned run average, but they're 2nd in defense. They've committed the 3rd fewest errors in all of baseball. That'll help the pitching. I think some of the guys that they've had in their lineup, Johnny Gomes has been a nice surprise, Drew Stubbs, and Scott Rowland. Yeah, 3 of the reasons why they are in the position that they're in.
I think everybody thought the Reds would hit. You know, we saw them in spring training. The question was, how will they pitch and how will they pitch in their ballpark? It's one of the hitter-friendly parks in the big leagues, Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati.
I don't think anybody thought that Joey Votto was going to have the kind of year that he's had. I mean, you talk about 3 guys that have been contention for MVP. When's the last time that's happened? Joey Votto's been one of the best all year.
Reds are anxious. Cincinnati fans are hoping for that first trip to the postseason since '95. Votto. And a race to the bag. Gomez beats him to the bag. It's a base hit. Joey Votto made a great play, but Gomez was out of the box quickly.
Bailey didn't get there. Homer Bailey, very slow getting off the mound. And the foot race to first base, won by Carlos Gomez. I love watching this guy run. Boy, nice approach by Gomez. He's started in 3 of the last 4 games. Very close at first base. Angel Hernandez calls him safe. You know, in that Brewers 3-game winning streak, it started in Houston, the first 2 in San Francisco. Gomez started all 3 and was involved in just about all the offense with plays like this. Outright hustle. Tie goes to the runner.
I'm not sure Votto even got to the bag. It looked like he stepped short of first base even. So it's an infield hit and quick energy for the Brewers. We see Gomez just pumping the fist.
And you know he's going to want to steal those 4 stolen bases in Cincinnati off of Homer Bailey. Gomez did not start.
He's only been caught twice, Gomez. 16 for 18 on the year. And if there is a lesson to be learned here, Lorenzo Cain for the rest of his career will check the start time of that particular night's game. Because really, it was Cain thinking it was a night game in Houston when it was actually a day game in Houston that allowed Gomez back into the starting lineup, and it's been hard to get him out of there since. Now Bailey throws it away. Gomez a chance to go to third here. He's on his way. And no throw made. Boy, Gomez changes the ball game when he is on.
Boy, that's the key, though, when he is on. If he can figure out a way to get on base more, there's nobody more exciting in all of baseball when he gets on base. Just the fact that he's out there, it puts the pressure on the defense. It'll be an E1, allowing Gomez to get all the way around to third base. Gomez picking up Brad Fisher, waving him around, and no throw at third.
2-base error by Homer Bailey. And the Brewers a chance here. Nobody out. Runner at third. And Escobar, instead of trying to advance a runner at the very least, now playing run producer here.
Now just put it in play. The Reds have the infield back. Anything other than a ground ball to third will score a run.
Got a good cut, fouls it back. Escobar hitting at 238. He's dipped somewhat offensively down the stretch here. Been some talk that Escobar might go to winter ball, play in Venezuela this winter. The Brewers would like him, if he does go, to at least watch his schedule, not play so much. They feel like he needs to maybe take a break after a long season, his first season in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's going to be 500 plus at bats for Escobar. I'm not sure how much winter ball he needs.
And he chases a breaking ball, and it's a strikeout for Bailey, his third. 1 out.
Now the Reds can bring the infield in, perhaps. We'll see what they elect to do. It's only the second inning. Looks like Dusty Baker's going to keep the infield back.
Well, Jonathan Lucroy a chance to drive in a run. Had a good series in San Francisco. Lucroy had the key hit early against Tim Lincecum on Saturday in that great matchup between Gallardo and Lincecum. Won by Gallardo and the Brewers. Milwaukee going into San Francisco, parachuting right into a pennant race, and sellout crowds every day there. And the Brewers taking 2 out of 3 from the Giants. The Giants begin play today with a half-game lead still in the National League West. Giants are off today. They'll play the Chicago Cubs tomorrow. They start a 3-game series at Wrigley.
Little different travel schedule for San Francisco going to Chicago as opposed to what the White Sox had to deal with yesterday. Then 11 innings deep into the night, a Sunday night game, and the White Sox had to go to Oakland.
That's the travel equivalent of taking one in the ribs. I was listening to Ed Farmer last night on the White Sox radio network.
How was he dealing with that?
He was not pleased
he didn't like that, huh?
About how this thing unfolded. Yeah, the White Sox and the Tigers last night. Lucroy chases one out of the strike zone. It's now 2-2. Bailey has upped his fastball in this second inning. He topped out around 92, 93 in the first inning. And he's been as fast as 95 in the second.
And that's just about where he was in his last start. He gets oiled up. He can get it up there. And he likes to elevate the fastball out of the zone high. It's 95 miles an hour, but pretty straight. Not a lot of movement on it. And curveball at 77. And the fastball as high as 96.
Full count to Lucroy. Got Gomez over at third base. The pitcher, Capuano, coming up next. And Lucroy chases one. Boy, the Brewers with a runner at third and nobody out. Back-to-back strikeouts from Escobar and Lucroy.
Man, this pitch off the outside corner, maybe a little bit too close to take, but clearly about 3 inches off the edge. And now Homer Bailey gets to face the Brewers pitcher.
And a chance to get out of it. Gomez still standing at third base. Capuano fouls one away. Capuano has 1 hit this year. He's a good athlete, but he'll have a tough time turning around 95 miles an hour. And I'd be surprised if Bailey tries anything else but the fastball here.
You're almost doing him a favor by taking something off.
Bailey already with 4 strikeouts. Gomez at third. He reached on an infield hit to start it. A 2-base error from Bailey had him at third base. Oh, 97, reaching back for a little extra. Nothing wrong with his arm now. Well, you got to think Dusty Baker watches this. Bailey certainly knows his situation. He's reaching back for a little bigger velocity, and if you're thinking about the postseason, he might be a fit in that bullpen.
Yeah, come in and go through an order maybe once, maybe give him 3 outs. You never know with a guy with a fastball like that. If he can throw strikes, he could be an asset to you. But it's all about throwing strikes for Bailey. He's already got 42 pitches under his belt. We're in the second inning.
Here's the 2-2 and a swing and a miss. He went with a breaking ball, and Capuano is retired. Brewers strand a runner at third. We head to the third. Market of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. Back at Miller Park in Milwaukee, 2-0 Cincinnati. And we always like to visit with Brewers general manager Doug Melvin. First game of a homestand. Now we're in the final homestand of the year. Can you believe it's gone by this fast?
I know time flies, and I wish we were in a better position for the fans and for ourselves. But we're here, and we'll go out there and give it our best from here on out.
Organization has a lot to look at. I mean, pitching. You're looking at Gomez getting an opportunity. He's played well lately.
Yeah, Carlos has played well. He's worked on cutting down his swing a little bit. The length of his swing, and it's proven to be successful here in the number of times he's played in Houston and on the West Coast. So, the work he's put in, the one thing with Carlos, I look out my window in the afternoons, and he's out here hitting early every day with Dale and that. And, he always plays hard. He's always played the game hard and that. And he's been accused of playing it too hard sometimes, but I don't know if you can ever be accused of playing the game too hard.
Now, the starting pitching certainly has been the story in the month of September. Only two teams with better starting pitching in baseball than the Brewers. How do you attribute the success of that group lately?
Well, I wished I knew a little bit. We would have used it earlier, whatever the formula is. I think that Randy Wolf is pitching extremely well right now. And you go through a season, every player is going to have their ups and downs in that, but he's on a pretty good roll right now. Giovanni looks like he's back on track after struggling after the All-Star break and that. But the bullpen, I think, has been big. We talk about the same guys, Axford and Braddock and Cameron Lowe and that. And Trevor's pitched much better. But our starters have been better, too. I think defensively we've been a better defensive club this month, making more plays, which obviously helps. Throwing more strikes, keeping our walks down. It's simple. We preach it every day. We preach it every year, but you have to go out and do it.
Tell us some of the process moving forward here as the season comes to an end and your evaluation period, not just with players, but all of your staff, and how does that work from this position forward?
Well, Gord Ash and I met with each one of the coaches here recently and just had a sit down where we'd, for about 45 minutes to an hour, and go over the team and go over the players and the communication. Is there anything we can do from the front office? So we've had those one-on-one individual meetings, and we do them every year, and we do them, privately, so that we're not. It's tough to do in the clubhouse sometimes because there's so much activity all the time. So we have private sessions earlier in the daytime, and we've had those, and at the end of the season, we'll hear our evaluation of all our minor league staff. We've already set up professional scouting meetings in October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, 3 full days, non-interrupted meetings and that. And then the coaching staff of the minor league teams will also get their input on players too. So we'll tap into everybody to determine what they've seen over the course of the year. Obviously, we see every game and that, but we need to tap into everybody in the organization to find out what their thoughts are, their ideas, who else they've seen, to try to see what we have to do for next year.
Your rookie ball teams did pretty well. Helena and the Arizona Fall League, or the Arizona guys, won championships.
Yeah, they both won championships, which is a good sign for Bruce Side, his scouting staff, and reading the player development. And they hadn't done that in a while, but it's good to see those teams. I know they're a ways away, some of those players, but we have instructional league going on right now, and I'm going to try to get down there for 3 days before the season's over to see the instructional league. And we've got some pretty good players down there too. Jake Odorizzi's down there, and Kyle Heckathorn, and Cantrell Davis had a good year up at Appleton. So there's a good number of players in our system. It's just a matter of when are they ready for the big leagues. We never thought that Jonathan LaCroix would have this many games under his belt, and Lorenzo Cain, the experience. Mark Rogers is going to get a start on Thursday. So Brandon Kinsner. We got a lot of young players here that we'll get a chance to look at. I guess that's the disadvantage of not being in a pennant race, is that they're gaining that kind of experience here, but it's very beneficial for them to gain experience at the big league level.
Yeah, tell us about Mark Rogers. They're going to make a start against the Marlins when they come in town. What do you expect out of him?
Well, Mark's looking forward to it. He's someone that missed about a year and a half, almost 2 years with arm problems. He was in the same draft as Homer Bailey that we're seeing tonight pitching against us. So, if it wasn't for the injuries, Mark might be here and might be helping us more. But he's going to get an opportunity to go out there, and he's had 2 innings so far here, and has shown good poise, has thrown strikes, and that's what it'll be about for Mark, is to keep his delivery and that under control. And I think he's looking forward to it. He's a very good athlete, and that's so he'll get a chance on Thursday night, and I know he's excited about it.
Well, you don't want to give away starting jobs in September for 2011, but in addition to Mark Rogers, Jeremy Jeffress was pushed to the big leagues as well. And what have you seen from him? And what can you tell us about his future? Is he a reliever in the making, or does he have a chance to end up as a starting pitcher in the big leagues?
Well, again, once we get everybody's information, we'll probably determine that. I think with the need for starting pitching, it's probably we'd like to go in that direction, but I'd like to hear from everybody. I think that's one of the reasons there's a shortage of starting pitching in the major leagues, is because when you get those kind of arms, everybody likes to just put them in the bullpen. And you go out there and let them pitch for 1 inning or 2 innings. And there's a real shortage of starting pitchers to have a good 5-man rotation in the big leagues. And, you can go out there and say Cameron Lowe or Axford or Braddock. And if teams had the patience enough to keep them in the minor leagues to learn the third pitch, you'd have starting pitchers. And a lot of times we don't have that kind of patience. We get the good arms, the live arms in the big leagues, and say they can pitch out of the pen. And that's what happens. You've seen it with different ball clubs and that. But Jeremy's got a good arm. He's 95, 96 with a good breaking ball. The difficulty of pitching in relief, he doesn't use his changeup that much, and he's got a very good changeup. So he's going to be going to the Arizona Fall League and be getting some extended innings. He and Mike McClendon, Brandon Kinsler, all 3 of them are going to be going to the Fall League to be pitching to get some innings and gain some more experience.
It just seems like all across baseball that general managers are becoming more willing, at least in the last couple of years, to push young players to see what they have, as the veteran players tend to get hurt quite a bit, especially post-Mitchell report. But seems like, and you mentioned it with Luke Croy and Lorenzo Cain, that these young guys are able to handle themselves well at the big league level.
Yeah, I think it's I do think if they go through the proper development process, you're going to get the more complete player. If you look back, Prince Fielder went through each level to get here. Ryan Braun played at every level to get here. We pushed Ricky Weeks a little bit. We pushed J.J. Hardy a little bit earlier on. Torrey Hart played at each level. And then when they come up here, they're having the ones who aren't pushed like that will have a little more success early in that. And they take that developmental stage out of the equation at the big league level. But when you're pushing players up here at the big league level, you're almost asking them that there's a developmental part of their game that's still not completed. Carlos Gomez is a perfect example of Carlos being in the big leagues at the age of 20. Lorenzo Cain's got 2,200 at bats. I think Carlos has like 1,200 or 1,300. So Carlos has great skill set and great tools. And if he'd have played 2 more years in the minor league, who's not to say he might be a 270 hitter now.
Doug Melvin, we appreciate your time, and we'll see you down the road. Final homestand of the year.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Pick up some wins. That's Doug Melvin. Your answer to 234-234. And the question this week is, who is the Brewers MVP this season? We want to hear from you. Weeks, McGee, Axford, or Corey Hart? Just text in the corresponding letter.
That's a good question.
I like that question. That might be one that tells the tale for us, because we were thinking about our selections for Brewers MVP. So we'll ask you to help us out. You could make a case for all four of those players. Certainly the way Braun has finished up. John Axford. How about John Axford in his rookie season?
Yeah. He's been something else. Who would have thought, right?
And perhaps in any other year other than this one, with this great rookie class in the National League, perhaps any other year John Axford might be in the picture for Rookie of the Year. But not this season, unfortunately.
Yep, he's got the saves. You know, Axford with 22 saves. To say nothing about his 8-1 record. He's got 8 wins.
Meaning he's been pitching in a lot of tie games that have been won by the Brewers in the next half inning. So he's holding the team, his opponent.
Brewers closer is 4th on the team in wins.
That's a good perspective.
I like that.
Ricky Weeks draws the walk. That tells a lot of stories right there, actually. So here are some numbers for you to base your decision on. You got Weeks with the big power numbers, 27 homers from the leadoff spot. Corey Hart, 28 homers. He's having a career year, both in home runs and RBIs. And, of course, Casey McGee, a chance at 100 runs batted in. Casey McGee is tied with David Wright, the most RBIs by a third baseman of the National League, each with 94 to start play today.
It's between two guys for me, and I really can't come up with a reason why I would pick one or the other. And he's one of them.
All right. How about this one?
I have a tough time giving the MVP to a pitcher.
So we'll scratch Axford off the list. And how about this one?
That's not the guy I would pick, but he's had a tremendous year.
Well, by process of elimination.
And again, all 4 of them deserving. You know, I can't decide between Corey Hart and Casey McGee.
Our director, Michael Odino, thought he knew you so well.
Yeah, well,
apparently not. There's a base hit right on cue. And it's bobbled in right field by Heisey. Here comes Weeks. He'll make it. Ricky Weeks heads up base running. He turned around and saw that Heisey bobbled the ball and makes it to third base.
Yeah, nice job by Brad Fisher, too. I mean, not taking anything for granted. This is what we're talking about with the Brewers. We see a lot of teams that get base hits and they just concede the fact that Ricky's going to stop at second base. He sees the bobble and he just takes off. I mean, this is a team that is always looking to take the extra base, always hustling. And, you know, when your star players, you know, Ricky Weeks, or I should say Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun, when those two guys are hustling, that makes everybody else hustle.
It'll be an error on Heisey. And the Brewers have runners at the corners for the big sluggers. 50 pitches already for Homer Bailey. He has 5 strikeouts. The Brewers stranded a runner at third base last inning. But now Braun a chance to send one across the pay station here as he takes a strike. Braun struck out in the first, with Weeks at second base. Back-to-back innings, the Brewers have stranded a runner in scoring position.
There's been a lot of fastballs from Homer Bailey. It really has. I mean, tons of fastballs. And most of them on the outside corner. Every now and again with 2 strikes, he'll straighten a hitter up with a fastball in, but he likes to work away.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw to second base. In time, Hart is thrown out. Corey Hart gunned down by Ryan Hannigan. Good throw by the Reds catcher.
Boy, quick release and right on the money. very close down there at second base, but Dan Bellino rings up Corey at second. Not a very big lead, decent jump. And Corey Harden out at second base. So you got him. Good call. So 4 stolen bases. The Brewers run wild on Homer Bailey the last time they saw him in Cincinnati. And Ryan Hannigan able to get the first stolen base attempt.
That's a big out for Bailey. Now 1 away. Still a runner at third. Braun a chance to put the Brewers on the board here. The infield is back for Cincinnati. They'll concede the run. And Braun obliges. Bouncing ball to short. Weeks scores the run. And Braun gets credited with an RBI.
I'll take what they give you, right? I mean, they're back. Ryan with a defensive swing, but able to get it on the ground and drive in another run.
92 RBIs for Braun. Two to 1 Cincinnati. And Prince Fielder will hit. Base is empty now. Bailey back in the windup. Just 4 games in the National League today. One of them already in the books. Marlins shut out the Cardinals 4-0. Volstad beat Carpenter. Chris Carpenter now 15-8. And he gave up all 4 runs in the second inning. So Chris Volstad picks up his 10th win. He's into double digits, which gives the Reds 1 more chip to their elimination number, which is now at 7 as Fielder rips one to center field, a base hit. A 2-out single for Prince Fielder.
An outright bullet for Prince. He's on for the second time. Hey, catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins on October 6th with the Division Series on TBS. Right around the corner.
Regular season wrapping up on the 3rd. Inside 2 weeks left in the regular season. Unless we have another season of a regular season playoff. Here's where it stands right now. It is tight in the American League East. Tonight, the Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays start a 4-game series at Yankee Stadium. Twins are close to eliminating the White Sox. The Rangers are close to calling it a season with the Oakland Athletics as well. But a great race going on in the American League East, the National League West, and of course the wild card race will be a good one as well in the National League. Pretty much a given that the 4 teams in the American League are settled, with the Rangers, the Twins, the Rays, and the Yankees. Now it's just going to depend on who has the best record in the American League, because the Twins are right back in it. Minnesota has won 7 of their last 10. They are just a half game behind the New York Yankees for the best record. And the Rays are a half game back as well for the best record. Wouldn't that be something if Minnesota could get home field advantage in the first round at Target Field?
That would be huge for them. They've had a tough time getting out of the first round. But they have a nice ball club. Who would have thought they'd have a 10-game lead at this point? Colorado Rockies have to be kicking themselves today. 6-1 lead yesterday. They got beaten extra innings to the Dodgers. Would have been able to get even closer to that Western Division lead.
Still 3 teams separated by a game and a half in the West, instead of 3 teams separated by a half a game in the West. McGee in the right field, or right center, excuse me, and Stubbs over to make the catch. And the inning ends. So the Brewers get a couple of hits. They score a run. It's 2-1 Cincinnati.
Community Foundation 50-50 raffle tickets are sold throughout the ballpark, beginning with the gates opening through the 4th inning of every Brewers home game. At the top of the 6th inning, the winning ticket will be announced, and a lucky fan will take home half of the net proceeds from the day's raffle ticket sales. Look for the raffle ticket sellers in the orange T-shirts rolling the concourses and stands at Miller Park. You can't miss them. And to date, the biggest winning pot has been over $9,500, and the BCF has raised over $700,000 with 6 games to go, Brian.
All right, Telly, thank you. As we head to the 4th inning, 2-1, Cincinnati leads the way. You're talking about the Reds' defense and how good they've been this year, and already 2 errors for the Cincinnati Reds. But the Brewers' run in the 3rd will be an earned run against Homer Bailey.
Yeah, same held true with the Giants series. I mean, the first game of that Giants series, the Giants were deplorable defense, and Brewers able to, get a couple of runs with bad defensive plays. So yeah, hey, you're not going to be good all year. You're going to have your defensive breakdowns. So the Brewers essentially playing 2 of the top 3 defensive teams in the National League, the Giants and the Reds.
And perhaps 2 of the 4 National League teams that are headed to the postseason. Still think the Giants are going to find their way to the playoffs, but the way the Rockies are playing, I'm not sure about San Diego right now.
Yeah, they seem like they're running on fumes right now, and they're just they played so well for so long. I think it's catching up to them a bit. The pitching has, although it has been very good, hasn't been as good, and they really never, all season long, have been able to score a ton of runs. Their pitching is why they're in the position that they're in.
Ricky Weeks will take care of Scott Rowland for out number 1 in this 4th inning. I'll say, if you're a ball player, you can join Bill Schroeder for the Milwaukee Brewers Fantasy Camp, January 30th through February 6th. Camp includes instruction and coaching from Brewers legends, professional clubhouse staff, athletic trainers, and more. All participants also receive an authentic Brewers uniform, batting practice top, and much more. Log on to foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the Brewers Fantasy Camp link, featuring Bill's photo for more details and to register. Very nice.
I got my picture there, and they're trying to get people to click on it. That's not going to do it, is it?
It's an easy. There's a lot of space there to click on.
My picture, anywhere you hit, right? Yeah, we got Jim Gantner coming in. We got Dale Swaim, Eddie Cedar. We've got Listash, Greg Vaughn, Ray King, Jeff Cirillo, Jeff Jenkins.
Very good.
We got a kind of a late '90s team Brewers theme going.
And what's the age limit again?
30 and over. Men and women.
It's a 30 over league.
Right.
The old fantasy camp. I'll be there. I qualify for the 30 and over, so I'm happy to be a part of it. It'll be my 2nd camp. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope you pace yourself a little bit better than you did first time.
We're still having some residual problems from the first fantasy camp 2 years ago. As Capuano pulls the string on Johnny Gomes, out number 2.
Is the problem because of the shoulder or being gone for another week? Good changeup and well located down in the strike zone.
Yes, on both fronts.
Yeah, don't forget about the Halloween promotion we have going on the fantasy camp. Registration before October 31st. You get your personalized rock bat.
Oh, is that right?
Major League bat. Yeah. That's only for paid participants.
I got to get that registration. And I have to pay. That's the one that hurts a little bit. You got to go to the hip.
Yeah. The rock bats that a lot of the Brewers use.
Love the rock bats. You should have heard me yesterday, Rock. I might as well be a rock bat salesman.
Nice.
Because I was in Baltimore, right? So Mark Teixeira of the Yankees has a hand injury.
Right.
He has an injury on his thumb. It's that hamate right there.
Right.
He was out of the starting lineup again yesterday. I told Joe Girardi about the rock bats and the new bat that is out that Rowan makes. And they're going to call him. Could have all of the Yankees using rock bats.
That'll cover your camp. A good game here at Miller Park. First of 3 against the Reds. Drew Stubbs gets things going for the Reds. Early in the ball game, his 20th home run of the year, 2-0. I'll tell you, Homer Bailey's been good. Men in scoring position. The Brewers are hitless with 4 strikeouts. And the only run coming across for the Brewers, a ground out by Ryan Braun, his 92nd RBI.
So 2-1 Cincinnati. The Brewers coming up here in the 4th inning. Carlos Gomez will lead off. Infield hit in the 2nd, and he squares the bunt, takes a strike. Let's check in some other games from around the league. We mentioned just 4 National League games. Marlins beat the Cardinals. The Astros, with a 7-run 5th inning, they lead Washington 8-2. That club is really playing well. As Roland guns down Gomez for the first out of the 4th inning. AT&T Trivia tonight. We want to know who was the Reds manager the last time they reached the playoffs. 1995. And it was not Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker hoping for a return trip to the postseason. Went to the playoffs as the Cubs manager and went to the World Series as the skipper of the Giants.
Can I answer that right now? I read it in the notes today.
Sit on that for at least a half inning.
Give him a little bit.
A little bit. We'll give you a hint, though. This particular manager was back in the postseason the next season for a different team. Big showdown in Philadelphia tonight. The Braves and the Phillies. The Phillies with a 3-game lead over Atlanta in the National League East. And the Phillies lead 3-1 at home against Atlanta. Escobar off the end of the bat. Drew Stubbs will haul it in for out number 2. Ashley Cumlin is taking on what only 12 women have ever done, crossing the U.S. on foot, and she's doing it to raise awareness and money for multiple sclerosis. It's a disease her mother has been fighting for the past 27 years. You can follow Ashley on her journey, MS Run the U.S. Learn about her plan, how to donate, and the nationwide tribute to her mom. Follow her trek by watching Brewers baseball throughout the season and logging on to foxsportswisconsin.com.
Yep, September 28th, she finishes in New York. Oddly enough, the Brewers will be there. I think Telly Hughes is going to touch base with her, see how things went.
Telly's going to walk the last 50 yards with her and beat her across the finish line. We did it. We did it, Ashley. It'll be good to see Ashley again. We had her out earlier this season. She threw out the first pitch here at Miller Park. Started in San Francisco. She'll finish in New York. And raising a lot of money for multiple sclerosis. Ball and a strike on Lucroy. That Rays Yankees showdown. Top of the 6th inning. The Rays have just scored 3 runs in the 6th inning, and it's now 4-3 New York. CC Sabathia won his 20th on Saturday, the first pitcher to 20 wins this year in the big leagues. And CC Sabathia, his first 20-win season after 19 last year. Might be headed to a Cy Young Award in the American League, the former Brewer. Lucroy draws the walk. So the inning continues, and if nothing else, the Brewers able to clear the pitcher spot.
A lot of pitches are ready for Bailey as we sit here in the 4th inning. 72 pitches, 30 balls, 42 strikes for Bailey. That's always going to be an issue for Bailey in high pitch counts.
Capuano out to Votto and retired on the first pitch. The inning is over. The Brewers come up empty in the 4th. Cincinnati 2, Milwaukee 1. We're on our way to the 5th. The fifth inning from Miller Park on a cool Monday night. Roof is open, though. A nice night for baseball here. Our trivia, courtesy of AT&T, who was the Reds manager the last time they reached the playoffs, 1995. It was Davey Johnson. And then Johnson would go on to manage the Orioles. 96 season. Remember the Jeffrey Mayer incident?
Right.
Tony Tarasco. And it's been a long time for Cincinnati. They're anxious for a return to the postseason.
It was the first year in many, many years that they're guaranteed a plus 500 season. Was it 9 straight years?
Mm-hmm. They had a chance at the end of the decade at a one-game playoff that they lost. The one problem they're having in Cincinnati, and we were just there a couple of weeks ago, is they're still not drawing well in Cincinnati. It's a great baseball community. It really is. The Reds are the oldest professional franchise. Go all the way back to 1876. But they have not been able to fill up great American ballparks. You hope that will change as they get to the finish line here. We'll find out that last homestand.
6th lowest attendance in the National League at home. That's not good when you have a team as good as they put together this year. Well, Jocketty and his Cardinals influence on this ball club has turned out a nice season. It hasn't shown up at the turnstiles.
Well, for so many years, the Reds played at Riverfront Stadium. Over 30 years. They've been in their new ballpark since '03, and if they make it, it'll be a first for that facility. Hannigan draws the walk, so Capuano a leadoff walk in the 5th. That is the second walk issued by Capuano to go along with 5 strikeouts. Let's check in with Telly Hughes.
Hey guys, let's take a look around the league, and there are a couple of players that's really been lighting it up. Of course, Troy Tulowitzki has single-handedly kept the Rockies in the NL West picture, and Sin Chu putting together quite a week over in the American League and the Cleveland Indians. 2 guys, players of the week, and doing it real big this time of year, guys.
How about Troy Tulowitzki? Did not homer yesterday, but a stretch of 14 home runs in 15 games. One of the best stretches in the history of baseball.
He's something else.
Barry Bonds had home runs in 14 consecutive games. Albert Bell did it in 14 out of 15. Albert Bell did it in September at crunch time, like Tulowitzki is doing now. He's put himself right back into the MVP race.
Something in the water in Colorado that brings out the best in those guys in September. Was it 3 or 4 years that they've had monster Septembers?
3 out of 4 if you count this one. Going back to '07. Heisey retired. Hannigan still at first, 1 away in the 5th inning for Capuano. Now he'll face the pitcher Homer Bailey. A generation of Reds fans don't remember the Big Red Machine, one of the dominant teams in the history of baseball. There's a short list of some of the greatest teams ever assembled. The 27 Yankees always come to mind. Murderers Row. The mid-70s Reds, and it lasted a few years. Great history, Cincinnati.
Yeah, the A's in the 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the Yankees in the late 90s. That group that ripped off 3 in a row. Maybe the reincarnation of the Big Red Machine here this season. Bailey gets a bunt down. Only play is first. And that'll be a sacrifice for Homer Bailey. 2-4 on the putout. Hannigan advances to second base. 2 away. The Reds have a runner in scoring position. And here's Brandon Phillips. Capuano has been good tonight. He's given up the 2 runs, but that's been it. It was a 2-run homer by Drew Stubbs in the second inning, and really on maybe another night, maybe another ballpark, it's an out. It was a hard hit ball, but it was a high fly ball, just snuck over the wall in right field. Otherwise, Capuano with 5 Ks, just 2 walks. And he's given up just 3 Cincinnati hits.
That's kind of the way he's been pitching. His last 3 starts have been very good before tonight. He'd only allowed 5 earned runs and 18 in the 3rd innings. But he's only got 1 win to show for it. 1 and 2 in that stretch, and that includes a 1-0 loss to the Phillies.
Well, you can bet these are important innings for Capuano. He is a free agent come season's end, and he is trying to prove to the Brewers and all of these other organizations and these scouts that are here tonight that he is deserving of a contract next year and a chance to pitch in the big leagues. It's been impressive to watch him come all the way back from a second Tommy John surgery. And a little bit of a tutorial with the young catcher Lucroy from Capuano.
And we've talked about Jonathan Lucroy for a while now, and how impressed everyone has been with the way he's been able to handle this pitching staff. Relatively young catcher, some young pitchers on this staff, and he and George Gutierrez really haven't had a veteran guy to go to.
Corey Hardy is back, and he'll make the catch. Hard with a terrific catch in right field over the shoulder as he robs Brandon Phillips. The inning is over in the 5th. Good defense by the Brewers right fielder. Phillips knows one. Family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go, there's nothing stopping you. And by GMC. We are professional grade.
And tonight's time of the game winner is Spare Time Bowl Bar and Grill from Turtle Lake, Wisconsin, if they call the Brewers. In the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year or April and May of next year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Ricky Weeks will lead off for the Brew Crew here in the 5th inning. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes. Tonight's game being produced by Michael Vetter, directed by Michael Odino. We're glad you're with us. Well, it turned out to be a great night for baseball here in Milwaukee. A lot of rain came through the area earlier, especially out west. And they had the roof closed for batting practice, but able to open it up. And we are playing in the natural elements here tonight, which is one of the great features of Miller Park. Two to one Reds, a 2-run homer by Stubbs for Cincinnati. Weeks scored the lone Brewers run in the 3rd inning on a Braun RBI groundout. Weeks has been aboard twice. Singled in the 1st, he walked and scored in the 3rd. And a run that ended up as an earned run against Homer Bailey despite an error in the inning. That one is ripped into right center. That's going to go to the wall. Weeks can fly. He's on his way to second, and he'll stop there. He'll settle for a double. A leadoff double for Ricky Weeks.
Maybe I should reconsider my MVP vote. I'm telling you, you talk about hammering a baseball to the opposite field, right center. Nice short stroke by Ricky. Ball just jumps off his bat, finds a gap. Ricky 2 for 2 and a walk, and has scored the only Brewers run. Well, Ricky would love to finish off strong. A bit of a lull. In about a week and a half where he had a tough time, but he's starting to snap out of it again.
Well, Ricky Weeks is now 1 run shy of 100. The last Brewer to score 100 runs from the leadoff spot, Fernando Vina.
Yeah.
And that was 101 back in 1998. Weeks has a chance to break that record. He is at 99 with his run scored tonight. And that truly is the name of the game, from the leadoff spot, scoring runs. It's the name of the game anyway.
On base percentage and runs scored. Those are the 2 most important statistics for a leadoff hitter.
Fernando Vina the last. Paul Molitor did it 4 times, scoring 100 runs or more as a leadoff hitter. Corey Hart can deliver Weeks' 100th run scored with a base hit. Oh, and 2 the count on Corey Hart. Made a nice over-the-shoulder catch in the top of this frame, robbing Brandon Phillips of an RBI extra base hit. Chase one. Fastball high. Hart can't lay off, and it's out number 1. Strikeout number 6 for Homer Bailey. So here comes Braun, and speaking of catches, Ryan Braun yesterday still the talk of the town. One of the best plays of his career, he told me earlier today. And it was something special as he goes up over the wall to bring it back in. And he enjoyed every minute of it. Good to see the Brewers playing hard and playing defense. That's when you know a team is giving it their best effort on a daily basis, even when they're out of the postseason race.
Playing with a lot of pride. They want to finish strong. They want to give their best and beat the best. They took 2 out of 3 from the Giants. Would love to do the same minimum against this Reds ball club. Always want to finish strong. Nobody remembers how you start. It's how you finish. Those are the lasting impressions throughout the offseason. Nobody wants to be accused of mailing it in when you're out of contention. You got the long contract. And certainly the Brewers cannot be accused of doing that.
So Braun a chance to drive in another run here, has Weeks at second base. Braun with his 92nd RBI in the 3rd inning. That was a 6-3 ground out to produce the run, the lone Brewers run. Now Weeks representing the tying run. Fielder will hit next. In the 1st inning, Bailey struck out Braun with a fastball away. Braun had Weeks at second base in that 1st inning as well. Brewers left him stranded in the 1st. Braun's among league leaders in runs scored as well. Talked about Ricky Weeks, who has 99 now. Weeks is tied for 3rd in the National League behind Carlos Gonzalez and Albert Pujols. But Braun with 95 runs scored began the day 7th in the National League in that category. That one is hit well left field. Gomes is back. He cannot get it. Ricky Weeks will score. Braun in the 2nd. It's a double and an RBI. And we are tied at 2.
And another good at bat by Ryan Braun. His 2nd RBI. This time a double, a bullet over the head of Johnny Gomes. A lot of fastballs by Homer Bailey. One after the other. A couple of them up and in. A lot of pitches high, and that one down in the strike zone, and Ryan able to go down and golf it. A line drive over Gomes, who's playing deep already. Ricky Weeks scores his 100th run of the year.
As Braun drives in his 93rd, 2 RBIs tonight for Braun. And now Prince Fielder a chance to give the Brewers the lead. As Weeks hit a career milestone here tonight.
It's got to be about 90% fastballs from Homer Bailey tonight.
That number in 82, the 135 runs scored, that still just blows me away. Anytime you score over 130 runs, that is something special in a 162 game season. They truly were the wall bangers in 1982.
Yeah, those are some big boys swinging big bats back in those days.
But it does need to be stated that that was an American League team, of course, and there was the designated hitter. Fielder chases the left field line. It's foul.
They did have the designated hitter. Fewer teams. That American League Eastern Division was a bear. Some good pitching in that division. Plus, playing at County Stadium, a lot different than playing in a lot of these new ballparks. So I think it's a wash.
Call it a wash. Fielder gets sawed off, and a diving catch by Cabrera. That was a slicing soft line drive, and Cabrera able to chase it down for the 2nd out of the inning. Just a reminder to go to FoxSportsWisconsin.com to vote for the Brewers' top memorable moment that you'd like to see replayed here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. All courtesy of Gatorade. A lot going on FoxSportsWisconsin.com. You can find the latest from Bob Brainerd. He's here chipping away tonight, working on something for the webpage. Braun out at 2nd. McGee, little half swing, cuts through it. Bob's got a sign now. Usually we only show Bob when he's eating, which is about 79 to 82% of the time. But he's actually working here. Or he could be taking a nap.
He's thinking. Sure. It looks like he's at deep in thought as to what's going to be typed out next. You better be nice to him, or we might be in that blog in some capacity.
Subject to the scrutiny of Bob Brainerd. Yeah, he's done a nice job this year. We want to give him credit.
Yes, he has.
We like to have fun with Bob, but
he's here every home game, and he's here early. He's in the clubhouse and the dugout, and spends a lot of time in the press dining room.
Gathering ideas.
You could be a food critic. Now, he has done a good job. Been a nice addition to the Brewers or the Fox website.
Oh, and to the count on Casey McGee. Brewers a chance to take the lead here in the 5th. Braun out at second, and McGee lays off. There's something about Bailey's fastball. It's not a cut fastball. I mean, he's throwing at 96 miles an hour.
It's straight.
But it is, and I guess that's it, because a lot of fastballs come back into a right-handed hitter.
I think he hides it pretty well. He's a big, tall kid, and he throws in that downward plane, and it must be tough to pick up.
Hitters say it is a bit of an illusion, his fastball, especially when he throws it out there. Little bouncer, rolling, gobbles it up, makes it look easy. But the Brewers tie it up. Ryan Braun with his second RBI of the game, an RBI double. We're all even at 2. Game, we're all tied up. Chris Capuano back on the mound. We start the 6th inning from Miller Park in Milwaukee. Capuano has given up 2 runs. They came on one swing of the bat by Drew Stubbs. Now Capuano is into the 3rd time through the batting order. Orlando Cabrera, Joey Votto, and Scott Rowland due up. Cabrera was out with an injury to his side as well. Those can be painful, and they can be long-term in healing. It's not something you come back from right away, but Cabrera has come back for this stretch run. You're always worried about those injuries popping up again. I remember Ryan Braun had that last year. And it seems like he never really got over it. He put up numbers, but he never really got over it.
The oblique strain, that is a new phenomenon. I'm not sure if it's a new phenomenon. It's just called the oblique strain. It used to be I have a sore side. They've named all the muscles now.
Sends you back to medical school. Has us racing down to the athletic trainers.
Right.
What is plantar fasciitis? Where exactly is that?
Arthur Rhodes is dealing with that.
Right. And as you get older, it's much more difficult to come back from. Just like everything else. It applies to baseball players too. They're missing Arthur Rhodes, and that is an arm they will desperately need in the postseason.
Which is why they haven't been using him a whole lot. They're saving that arm and hoping those heels get better.
But they do have another left-hander that's pretty good.
Aroldis Chapman. He got hit up pretty good his last time out.
They took a loss, his first loss on this last road trip in Houston. That one's hit hard left field. Braun is back. He will not get there. So Cabrera into second with a double. A leadoff double in the 6th inning for the Reds.
They put a charge into that one, a fastball out over the plate, and see Cabrera able to get the bat head out on it. Fooled Brawny just a little bit. He went across instead of going back. Even if he went back on it right away, not sure if he would have been able to get there. That ball was hit well.
32 doubles for Cabrera.
There have been too many mistakes from Capuano. That was one. He got too much of the plate, up in the zone with the fastball.
And now the dangerous Joey Votto up there with the go-ahead run at second base. Now, typically you'd see Jay Bruce and Joey Votto in the starting lineup, even against left-handed pitching. No Bruce here tonight. Bruce been dealing with a sore right side as well.
He had a good series against the Brewers back in Cincinnati.
Bruce and Votto came up together in 08. Votto upset that he missed a pitch or that he couldn't check his swing. Almost wiped out Johnny Gomes in the Reds dugout. Who seems to be less upset than Joey Votto at this point. Ball and 2 strikes. Got him. Ring him up on the outside corner, and Votto, for the second time tonight, is barking at Joe West, and he might not last.
Well, that's one guy you don't mess with, Joe West. He has a very low threshold or tolerance right here. Joe West. You start making a fuss with him out there, and you will be in the showers. Second time that Votto has been called out on that exact pitch.
And even if you have the greatest eye in baseball history, it's too close to take with 2 strikes.
Well, that's what you're taught in Little League, but it's not the way it is anymore in the big leagues.
Looked like a good pitch from Capuano.
In all honesty, the way the strike zone has been called, particularly this year, I mean, hitters are better off taking that pitch. You're not going to do much with it, and a pretty good chance it's going to be called a ball. It's rare that it's called a strike. So you don't blame hitters for taking those.
Capuano has 6 strikeouts now. Scott Rowland with a runner at second. 2-2 ball game here in the 6th inning. Good game tonight. First of 6 meetings between the Brewers and the Reds the rest of the year. Cincinnati has 12 games left, including tonight. The Brewers with 14. Milwaukee will play it all the way through. No more off days.
In the middle of a 17-in-a-row stretch.
Got the entire offseason to rest, says Ken Maka. 17 in a row is tough, though. The Brewers will go with a 6-man rotation. Mark Rogers will get a start Thursday against Florida. And you might see Rogers once again in New York. There's Mark Rogers. He's made his way from the bullpen to the dugout, which is where the starting pitchers hang out.
These guys in the dugout don't miss a trick, do they? in the middle of the conversation, and Yo said, "You know what? I feel like somebody's watching me."
We're always watching you, Yo. Carlos Villanueva gets loose. Capuano doing all he can to get through this inning and have a chance at a victory here tonight. See if the Brewers can come back.
Yeah, nothing but good things about you, though, Yo.
Always. He knows that. Especially after his performance in San Francisco, beating Tim Lincecum Saturday night. Brewers got 2 runs early, and that's all they needed. And a 2-1 win, securing the series victory at AT&T Park. You'll ask if he went? No, he didn't, says Angel Hernandez.
Hey, kids, be part of a Major League moment every Sunday home game. 9 lucky kids ages 6 to 13 will stand next to a Brewers player during the national anthem. Pick up an entry form at your local PNC branch.
Johnny Gomes with 1 away. Chance at a double play to end the inning for Capuano. And a strike to Gomes.
Yeah, good changeup to start him out. He's got that slight cut to it. And 6 strikeouts for Cappy to go along with 3 walks, 6 ground ball outs. He needs one right now.
The Brewers have turned 1 double play tonight. They got one to end the 3rd inning. 2 on, 1 away. Count evens at a ball and a strike to Johnny Gomes. Cabrera at second with Scott Rowland at first. Gomes was with the Tampa Bay Rays during their World Series run. He was not on the postseason roster, but he was a member of that ball club that year. Matter of fact, Gomes was kind of the godfather of the modified mohawk that year. Remember when everybody, even the fans, were wearing the mohawks?
I do. Not a big fan.
Gomes has one sporting right now, Rock.
A little scary. Chris Capuano is at his highest pitch count of the year. 101 pitches. His last time out, he threw 90 pitches in 6 1/3 at Houston. Mohawk or no mohawk? Fastball got by him. And the reason that fastball got by him is because of that first pitch changeup.
Just introducing the hint of doubt about the speed. Big pitch coming up here for Capuano. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And it's in the air to right. That's playable for Hart. Neither runner will tag. Hart makes the catch for out number 2. And Capuano is an out away from getting through this inning. But he'll have to face Drew Stubbs, who has been a nemesis hitter for Capuano tonight. He was back in the 2nd inning. Stubbs to the opposite field. A towering fly ball that just scraped the wall. And a 2-run homer, number 20 of the year for Stubbs.
And he struck him out his next time up. Ken Maka has shown a lot of confidence in Capuano in this situation with Stubbs at the plate. You've got Villanueva up and ready in the bullpen. Trying to get him through the 6th inning. Maybe pick up a win.
There's a strike. Good start. Gets ahead of Stubbs. He was a .251 hitter. This guy hits for power, hits for average. He is in the 20-20 club now. Or rather, hits for home runs, I should say. 25 steals to go along with his 20 home runs. Did he check it? Yes, he did, says Dan Bellino.
And Dan Bellino hearing it from that Brewers dugout. Pretty close.
Getting started with a double from Cabrera. He's still at second base. And Stubbs is late. Ball and 2 strikes. The changeup has an impact even when you don't throw it.
You always have to have it in the back of your mind. You heard Dusty Baker, early in the ball game talking especially about that changeup. So you figure his hitters were prepared to see it a lot, and that's why Cappy's able to sneak that fastball by these guys from time to time. Hitters always look for the best pitch that a pitcher has that particular night, and ordinarily that's the changeup for Capuano.
Ball and 2 strikes. What does he have in mind for him here? A fastball strike called. Stubbs is run up. Capuano surprises him with a fastball. 7 strikeouts. Still tied at 2. Can the Brewers get him some runs? Three-game series, and the first of the homestand, the final homestand of the year. Homer Bailey against Chris Capuano. They are racking up a ton of strikeouts tonight. Bailey with 6 Ks, Capuano with 7 thus far. Drew Stubbs with a 2-run homer in the second inning, representing the 2 Cincinnati runs at this point, and it was Ryan Braun doubling in the tying run in the 5th. Braun has both RBIs, giving him 93 for the season. Ricky Weeks has scored 2 runs in this game and now has 100 for the season as well.
Numbers pretty close. Capuano able to get through that 6th inning. Ken Mock is showing a lot of confidence in Capuano to get to a couple of right-handers with the go-ahead run at second base, and he was able to do it.
And he'll turn it over to his offense to see if they can get him a lead and possibly a win here tonight. Capuano is done. The bullpen's still active. And Capuano, with the most pitches he's thrown all season, will wrap it up through 6 innings. Carlos Gomez reached on an infield hit in the second inning. Ended up at third base where he was stranded. Grounded out to third his last time at the plate. Capuano, a season high for strikeouts tonight with 7. Most pitches he's thrown in a game. The first time this season he had been over 100 pitches. Not his longest outing, however. Capuano went 7 innings against the Cardinals in a victory. Took him only 83 pitches to get through 7 innings.
Yeah, Cappy's done well. He really has since he's been inserted in the starting rotation. He's continued to lower that earned run average. He's been a nice surprise.
And Gomez goes down on strikes. That is number 7 for Homer Bailey. All right, Rock, our Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question. Jeff in Brookfield wants to know, what verbiage did you use to address the umpire if you felt your pitcher was being squeezed?
Verbiage?
It's a good word.
How do you talk to an umpire? Well, it depends on the umpire. I mean, every catcher. I mean, the longer you're around the league, the more you get to know each and every umpire, and you know what you can get away with. You know what umpires might give you a little bit more leeway. But the one thing you don't want to do when you're trying to question a call, you don't want to turn around. You want to take your mask off. You don't want to let the crowd know that you're talking to the umpire. You just look forward and say things like, "Hey, Joe, we need that pitch tonight." I mean, Capuano. He doesn't throw hard. He needs that outside corner. Give it a good look. Or you say, did you see it well? I mean, you want me to get lower for you? How can I help you? We need that pitch. I mean, honestly, those are the kind of things that you say.
You kill him with kindness.
Right. You make it your fault. What did I do for you to miss that pitch? That was a strike.
That's great. Well, and certainly every player knows that Joe West does not put up with much.
No.
So,
but catchers know. I mean, the longer you're around, I mean, you're veteran guys. I mean, Joe will listen to you as long as you don't try and show him up. Don't be holding the ball there for a long period of time. Ask him in a very polite fashion. And he may see it your way the next time. You don't know. But the one thing's for sure, if you upset him, he's not going to give you anything. And I'm not just talking about Joe Webb. I'm talking about umpires in general.
Ball and 2 strikes on Escobar. And the count evens at 2-2. Joey Votto barking at Joe West. Now, this was the second time that Joey Votto argued after he called strike 3, and Joe West establishing parameters. That's pretty much.
He said, no, that ball was not off the plate. You could read Joe West's lips.
Thank goodness he kept it clean for us.
Joe's a musician, He's got some country songs, and I've actually got a couple of those DVDs.
Two and 2 the count. Escobar hanging tough. And the count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Escobar. The Brewers need a base runner. All tied at 2. Capuano appears to be done for the day. His spot in the batting order down in the hold right now. Probably see Joe Inglet come on to hit, as that one is hit hard. Center field, way back there. Stubbs at the wall. He's got it for the out. Lucroy gave it a ride. Wrong part of the ballpark. Or rather, Escobar, I should say. Almost.
Well, just allowed out. If you talk to Ken Maka, he'll tell you that, Escobar, you don't want him elevating the baseball. Slight uppercut right there. And anytime he gets the ball in the air, pretty good chance it's going to stay in the ballpark. That's a pretty good bolt off the bat of Alcides and up against the warning track. They call it warning track power, partner.
It's about what it was. And Escobar retired. 2 up, 2 down for Bailey. And here's Lucroy. Joe Inglet scheduled to hit next. Kind of rummaging through your files over here, Rock.
Well, my credibility was questioned in the truck. Somebody didn't believe I actually had the DVDs, the CDs.
Took it right out of your CD player.
The vault. Yep. Right here.
Diamond Dreams.
Diamond Dreams. Some of the names are Diamond Dreams, a piece of history, everybody. Extra innings out at home, the men in blue. Some of the the titles of
some
his
of the
singles.
hits. They say it'll be a million seller. There'll be a million of them in his cellar if he keeps making them. No, I'm just kidding, Joe. Don't throw me out.
I've got an extra one for you.
No, I have one. Yeah, I like him. Good stuff. Multi-talented, multi-faceted. You know, we're having our crew party. When is that? Thursday? I think it's Thursday.
Thursday out of Friday.
So maybe this should be our music.
Right.
We could do the Joe West, and we could have that running along.
Do we have to get Joe's permission?
Oh, no. I mean, we'll play it up. And
I bet if you run it during the game on our broadcast, you know, going in and out of break.
It's a great idea.
I think he'd love it. Maybe he'd, if we tell him about it, we get to Bruce Fleming, tell him we're going to do that. Maybe he'll widen that strike zone tomorrow.
Except he'll be at third base tomorrow.
That's true.
Strike zone really doesn't do us any good at third base.
Well, Joe has ways of influencing people.
Oh, yes, he does. As the crew chief.
Yeah, Dave Bush on the mound. Maybe he can influence Dan Bellino. Who knows? But I digress.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Lucroy. Fouls it away. I don't know if Joe West has sold any of these, but I know there are a lot of them that exist. I guarantee you, one of these CDs is in every booth in the big leagues. Lucroy in the right, and the side retired. So a 1-2-3 inning for Homer Bailey. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. Miller Lite, what's on tap? This homestand continues tomorrow. The Reds, for the second of 3, back on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Dave Bush will pitch tomorrow for the Milwaukee Brewers. And our Miller Lite, what's on tap? It'll be Bush against Edinson Volquez. Johnny Cueto against Randy Wolf on Wednesday. Cameron Lowe is in to pitch, a double switch as Lowe takes over on the mound, and Craig Counsell will enter the game at short. 2-2, we're all tied up, both starters pitching well. Capuano is out, and now Lowe trying to keep the Reds right where they are. Ryan Hannigan will lead off. He has walked twice in this game.
Yeah, Cameron Lowe last pitched on Saturday night against the Giants. He pitched a 3-up, 3-down 8th inning, setting up John Axford for his save. And Cameron's been outstanding.
Nice easy hop for McGee. And one gone in the 7th.
Well, Chris Capuano really only one mistake, and it really wasn't a mistake. I mean, that high fly ball off the bat of Drew Stubbs, the only runs he allowed, really commanded his fastball well. He had 7 strikeouts. He was able to keep Joey Votto off the bases. He struck him out twice, both times looking. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks for Capuano, and he only allowed 4 base hits. Nice night.
Will not factor in the decision, but an excellent start. Chris Heisey with 1 away. 0 for 2 in this game as Lowe puts one by him. Right off the handle. Counsell plays it on a hop, and the throw is high. Well, Counsell, I'm surprised, let it bounce. Didn't feel like he could get it in the air, and that cost him. That'll be a base hit for Heisey.
No, not much of a chance for Craig Counsell. I thought that Casey had the best chance for it. That ball right off the fist, and all Counsell could do is barehand and try the best he can to make it close. Not able to do it.
And with that base hit, Dusty Baker will take a shot at it here in the 7th inning. Homer Bailey is out. The Red starter goes 6 innings, and a pinch hitter is coming on. Juan Francisco will hit for Cincinnati.
Yep, 11 players on the bench for Dusty Baker. 5 of them left-handers. Jim Edmonds, Lance Nix, who's been hampered by injuries. We talked about Jay Bruce earlier. Yonder Alonso and Ben Juan Francisco.
On the ground, Counsell to Weeks, the turn in time. Double play for the Brewers. And Cameron Lowe is out of the 7th. 1 pitch gets him 2 outs. Still tied at 2.
For the post-game show here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, Ryan Braun continues to be the offense for this team, driven in both runs so far, Davey.
Well, he's swinging a good bat, and as I was talking with Dusty Baker during batting practice, was asking about Ryan Braun. I says, yeah, he's really been hot. He says, you know it was going to happen because this guy has just been too good a hitter his whole career.
All right, due up 4th in this frame. We'll see if we can get him around. Brewers need some runs. opening up this final homestand of the year. And it looks like our instructional might be up for grabs right now. Should we text a vote, Davey? What do you think?
That sounds like a good idea. Let's do that because Rock hasn't come up with anything, and I haven't come up with anything, and nothing's happened in this ball game to come up with anything. So let's text a vote.
We ain't done just yet, Davey. Hang on now.
Okay, we got it.
All right, plenty more to come here on the broadcast and Brewers Live postgame presented by Lincoln Mercury. Brian?
All right, Craig, Davey, thank you. And my partner over here, he has a whole bucket full of ideas. So I'm sure something will come to mind. But we'll let the game unfold. Maybe the game will lead us in the direction you want to go tonight.
I got to be careful, though. I got this trick knee that's been acting up.
A trick knee.
Like nothing else than, to show how to head first slide or block home plate with maybe Craig coming at me, but I'm worried about the knee.
It's getting sad, Rock. Remember, you said it just a moment ago. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
You don't want people thinking about your trick knee.
But that's the thing. I want to be able to finish.
Craig Counsell leads off. He came in on the double switch in the top of this frame. 2-2 game as we play in the home seventh. Nick Massett is the new Reds hurler. Homer Bailey and Chris Capuano, almost identical lines. Counsell sends one out to Stubbs for the first out. Homer Bailey, 6 innings as well, 7 strikeouts as well. The only difference in these two starters' lines tonight was the hits. Bailey gave up 6, Capuano just 4.
Yep, both of them 7 strikeouts and 3 walks. Got a lot of miles out of the high fastball, did Homer Bailey. Didn't throw many off-speed pitches. Do not remember many changeups. 114 pitches. The lines for both guys just about identical. Both pitched well tonight.
So 1 gone for Ricky Weeks at the plate presented by Wendy's. He's had a good night. Scored 2 runs, which gives him 100 for the season. A career milestone for Weeks. And he is now 3rd in the National League. Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies and Albert Pujols with 105 runs apiece. So you get the feeling with these two teams, and proficient in the long ball, that this game might be decided by a home run. Plenty of power up and down each lineup. See, Weeks, the 6th in franchise history to get to the century mark for runs scored, and only the 3rd different leadoff hitter. Molitor, Vina, and now Weeks. Hasn't been done in over a decade. Been since 1998.
Haven't been many others for the Brewers, have there? Not many. Kind of runs a gamut for you.
Weeks is 2 for 2 with a walk. And down in the count to Massett, a ball and 2 strikes. And a curveball, strike call. Down goes Ricky Weeks. And he knew it. Yeah, 2 up, 2 down in the 7th.
Yeah, Massett's got some nasty stuff. A big breaking pitch, and he throws hard. Been used quite a bit. Hey, visit the official online shop of the Brewers at Brewers.com. Browse the largest online selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, T-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and much more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Brewers.com shop.
Here's Corey Hart now with 2 away. Hart has a hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. And he is pursuing a 30 homer, 100 RBI season. Bouncing ball to short. Cabrera will make the play. Scooped up by Votto. The inning is over. We head to the 8th from Miller Park. All tied at 2.
and humid, and there could be a thunderstorm or two around. May have to close that roof. First pitch temperature 78 degrees.
All right, Kate, thank you. And fans, if you want the Brewers weather forecast from Kate Bilo, send right to your phone. Text keyword forecast to short code 234234 and click on the link. We are headed to the 8th inning. Well-pitched game so far. Cameron Lowe against Nick Massett now out of the bullpen. The starters, Homer Bailey and Chris Capuano, will not factor in the decision. As Cameron Lowe back out there for his second inning of work, he'll have the top of the order to deal with. Brandon Phillips takes strike one. Say hello to Patrick Herb and his friends and family at the ballpark tonight from the University of Wisconsin. Good to see him here at Miller Park. A broken bat bouncer. And Lowe makes the play for the first out of this 8th inning. Well, we had a chance to visit with Dusty Baker earlier today. We asked him about the Reds and this pennant race.
There's a lot can happen in 12 games, you know, and I've seen it happen. Everybody else has seen it happen. So, hey, man, you can't be, you know, you have to prepare for it. They even send out playoff ticket requests because they have to. And but hey, the main thing is we just got to win.
So all the manager wants to do is stop with the business of making it to the postseason. And you'll recall, Rock, from 08 with the Brewers, there's a lot that has to be put into place as far as planning. Unfortunately, the manager has to deal with that a lot.
Right.
And that's the last thing a manager wants to talk about.
Well, and you know what? It's important for his players that have been to the postseason, you know, to really get these young players to understand that it's never over till it's over, what to expect, you know, down the stretch here and into the postseason once they get there. Orlando Cabrera has playoff experience. Scott Rowland. Ronson Arroyo has been in the postseason. So, you know, it's veteran guys. It's not the manager that really influences the thought process, you know, of the players in situations like this for the Reds. It's the players that have been there before. Those are the ones that have to take control.
Well, they are still in that comfort zone with a 6.5 game lead at this moment. The Cardinals lost earlier today to the Marlins. So the Reds can gain ground on St. Louis. They can drop their elimination number down to 6 with a victory tonight. But when you're over 5, you feel like you've got a bit of a cushion. But anything under 5, as far as your lead goes, it could be wiped out quickly. I think it gives the team that's chasing you a little bit different perspective as well. Remember the Detroit Tigers last year. They were 4 games up with just a weekend to go. And they lost. They ended up finishing in a tie with the Minnesota Twins. And, of course, the Twins would go on to the postseason.
One of the greatest games ever in baseball, that extra inning win at the Metrodome last year.
Game 163, the regular season playoff.
Now, when did they change the name from magic number to elimination number?
I don't think. Well,
not a big fan.
No, you can call it whatever you want.
Oh, is that right?
You don't like.
It's not official.
Which one do you not like?
I like the magic number.
The magic number?
Yeah, you have your magic number and your tragic number.
Sounds so sporty, the magic number.
Right. It's magic to get to the playoffs.
That's the Disney in you, I guess.
Right.
The kid in you comes out. So I figured you'd be a guy more with the elimination number.
No.
You're kind of an old school, nuts and bolts kind of guy. I didn't think you had anything to do with anything whimsical or magical.
No, it's not a matter of that. It's just that what I'm used to. You know how it is with me.
You can say magic number if you like.
Yeah. Magic number 7.
That's totally acceptable.
I thought that was an official.
Well, on the Major League standings, it is official as elimination number.
Oh, is that what it is?
There's a high drive left field. This is way back, and this one is gone, and it is way out of here. Joey Votto puts the Reds on top. A 2-run home run for Cincinnati. Votto with his 35th, and it's 4-2 Reds.
Well, Cameron Lowe doesn't give up many, but Joey Votto put a charge into that one. It had been a very tough night at the plate for Votto. A couple of strikeouts and grounded into a double play. That sinker stayed up in the strike zone, and it looked like Cameron Lowe knew it as soon as contact was made. And way back, second deck and left center with Joey Votto.
Gives him 106 RBIs for the year. He's just one behind the lead. That one's well hit to right, and Scott Rowland has left the building. Back-to-back home runs. Rowland with his 20th, and it is now 5-2 Cincinnati.
Well, coming from a guy that does not give up home runs. Cameron Lowe, wow, surprise. A couple of pitches up in the strike zone. Cameron Lowe in 52 innings had allowed 4 home runs, and 2 of them here tonight. Giving him 6 on the year. Another pitch up out over the plate, and Scott Rowland gives it a ride to the opposite field. Wow. Both of them pretty good shots opposite field.
And now Johnny Gomes. Back-to-back home runs for the Reds. It started with a 1-out single from Cabrera. Votto hits one way deep into left center. And then Rowland obliges with an opposite field home run as well. Quickly 0-2 on Gomes. All of the runs for the Reds coming via the long ball tonight. Two-run homer by Drew Stubbs in the second, his 20th. Votto number 35, Scott Rowland number 20 as well. And Gomes is down on strikes. Waved at a breaking ball, 2 gone in the 8th. First strikeout for Cameron Lowe.
Yeah, good slider that time off the outside corner. Gomes tried to pull it. There they are. Joey Votto and Scott Rowland, the heart and soul of the offense for this Cincinnati Reds team.
You just don't see many left-handed hitters hit it that far into the opposite field. That's normally reserved for the biggest of right-handed power hitters to that spot of Miller Park above the bullpen.
He centered on that one well, and Cameron Lowe knew as soon as he hit it, it was gone.
Stubbs is down 0-2. Two outs in the 8th. The Reds have taken the lead here. 3 runs are in on 2 homers. Votto now trailing Carlos Gonzalez and Albert Pujols for runs batted in the league. He's 1 back. Gonzalez and Pujols with 107. Two and 2 on Stubbs. And he's able to lay off. Full count. And he got him. So Lowe strikes out the final 2 hitters. But the Cincinnati Reds get big power from their big sluggers. Votto and Rowland put them on. Homer Bailey and Chris Capuano. Drew Stubbs put the Reds on the board with a 2-run homer in the second. And the Reds would get the rest of their runs on the long ball. Joey Votto goes deep into left center, a 2-run homer. Then Scott Rowland, number 20, a 3-run 8th inning for the Reds. And Maka's 9 down, 5-2 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. And it was a quick strike for Cincinnati. Votto showing you why he is among the candidates for most valuable player. That's what most valuable players do right there. Get big hits in big spots. Snapping a 2-2 tie, Joey Votto.
Yeah, but he has been about as consistent as any player in the major leagues. You know, most guys will go through ups and downs, but Joey Votto has been there just about all the time. Really hasn't had any long stretches where he's not driven in runs or gotten base hits.
Braun out to right, and the catch is made by Heisey. One away in the 8th. Our U.S. Cellular text a vote question of the week. You can get interactive with us. Just text your answer to 234-234. And we want to know who is the Brewers MVP this season. W for Wheats, X for McGee, Y for Axford, and Z for Hart. It's a good looking rally hat, little sombrero. Well, Prince Fielder is due to hit here in the 8th inning. And Dusty Baker will make a double switch. So we'll take a timeout. Fielder to bat with 1 away. And a pitching change coming up for Cincinnati. And Joe West says, hurry it up. Aroldis Chapman will pitch. Has a new toy in that bullpen, and it is Aroldis Chapman. He's been looking for big spots for him to pitch against left-handed sluggers, and he has found one here. The flame-throwing Chapman signed a long-term deal with the Reds this offseason out of Cuba, defected from Cuba, and he made his major league debut against the Milwaukee Brewers. You see his numbers at this point. His first game, the much-anticipated arrival of Chapman in Cincinnati, and he was lights out in that performance.
Yeah, he was throwing low 100s. I mean, triple digits, 101, 103 on the gun at Great American Ballpark. His last appearance, that came against the Astros on the 17th. He got the loss. Gave up a couple of runs. So he is indeed hittable as Chris Heisey moves from right to left. And Jay Bruce takes over in right field.
Chapman's lone win came against Milwaukee. That was in the second game of that series, their second game for him. But he's fun to watch. He's one of the bright young stars. Just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. He throws that one about 56 feet.
I think he's trying to throw a little bit too hard. Did that one get a piece of Joe West? Joe threw the ball back at Chapman. Chapman wasn't watching. The ball rolled over towards second base.
There's that big fastball. When Chapman made his debut against the Brewers, he was coming up from AAA Louisville. He was clocked at 105 at AAA. And we thought, really, there's no way. Well, he showed up in the big leagues. He was throwing 104, topping out at 104 that night. He's consistently around 100. As Fielder pulls one over to Votto. Chapman is there for him, and Prince is retired.
Well, he showed a pretty good breaking ball. The slider was a pretty good pitch for what we saw from him in Cincinnati. And it's going to be important that Chapman able to throw that pitch for a strike, or at least get hitters to swing at it. Got Prince that time on a fastball at 99 miles an hour.
Outside of Steven Strasburg, this is the most highly touted minor league prospect this year.
But will he stand the test of time? We'll see.
That's always the key, especially for somebody who throws that hard. Steven Strasburg out for the season and all of next season with the ligament replacement surgery. The Reds are hoping to use Aroldis Chapman like the Rays used David Price in 08. Called him up from the minor leagues and using him out of the bullpen. Next year he figures to be in the starting rotation.
If Cincinnati gets locked up with Philadelphia, he could be a big impact on that series, all of that left-handed power that the Phillies have in that lineup.
Ball on the strike with 2 away on McGee. A good fastball hitter. And that one is into center field. Drew Stubbs will make the catch. The inning is over. Chapman gets the final 2 outs. His last pitch, 100 miles an hour. And we head to the ninth. In a game of the utmost importance for the Cincinnati Reds, they lead it here as we head to the ninth inning. Jeremy Jeffress is on to pitch the ninth against Cincinnati.
Yeah, talking about hard throwers coming out of bullpens, we saw Aroldis Chapman that last pitch to Casey McGee at 100. Jeffress has been clocked as high in the big leagues in his first 5 games at 98. He has a big arm, a big overhand curveball. Important for Jeffress to be able to throw that curveball for a strike.
That's a kind of a cartoonish Raleigh fingers, I think, is what he's going for there. I'm sure Raleigh would be proud. He forgot his belt, by the way. That's going to cost him a little bit in the kangaroo court, among many other things
that have gone wrong in that outfit. He's having fun, though. That's all that counts. Not hurting anybody.
So Jeffress will face Ryan Hannigan. And on the first pitch, he bounces out. One gone in the ninth inning for Cincinnati. The same night Aroldis Chapman made his Major League debut, Jeremy Jeffress made his big league debut as well. Now, when Chapman made his debut, the first pitch he threw was taken out. The ball was taken out of play. And I had never seen that before. And the Brewers, somewhat insulted by that. I think that ball went to the Hall of Fame. Anyway.
Why would it?
So when Jeffress came on an inning later and he made his debut after his first pitch, the Brewers called timeout and asked for that ball to be taken out as well.
The Hall of Fame?
I don't know. That's what they said.
You were speculating.
No, they said that the pitcher's going to the Hall of Fame.
And what was the significance of that?
I think it just begins the Aroldis Chapman era.
Oh, right.
Who knows? So if he ends up and he has a great career and he becomes the Cy Young Award winning 20-game winner they expect him to be, one of these days somebody will have that ball.
And if not, that ball goes into a batting practice bag somewhere in the minor leagues.
Or it might have ended up in Chapman's bag.
That's
for a trophy.
What I would think it was.
But they don't do that. When a guy gets his first major league hit, they'll take the ball out.
Right.
For that reason. But it was quite the spectacle, and it was an inauspicious debut for Jeremy Jeffress, following up Aroldis Chapman.
Some things are hard to figure out these days, you know? Really.
Kids today, Rock. It's all about marketing.
It is, isn't it?
Which is why your face is on FoxSportsWisconsin.com. The marketable Bill Schroeder as Jeffress strikes out Chris Heisey, and 2 away in the ninth.
Yeah, good velocity right there. 97 for Jeremy Jeffress. Doesn't look like a guy that would throw as hard as he does, but he can light up that gun.
And he'll face Jay Bruce, batting for the first time. He came in on a double switch last inning. We had Doug Melvin on the air with us earlier tonight, back in the third inning, and he was speaking about Jeffress, and he'd like to see him evolve into a starting pitcher, which is what he has done mostly in his minor league career until this season. The reason he went to the bullpen this year, the Brewers wanted to push him to the big leagues just to see how he would react. They wanted to get him under the wing of Trevor Hoffman a little bit down in that bullpen and into this big league environment. And we'll see what we get from him next year. It's good to get the first year jitters out of the way in September.
Yeah, with a fastball like that, you would expect he's got a nice future ahead of him, but he's going to have to be able to throw that curveball for a strike. Can't get by with one pitch. You can barely get by with two as a starting pitcher. But he's got a good curveball.
Well, Doug Melvin was saying about Jeffress earlier that pitching out of the bullpen, and Aroldis Chapman is in the same boat. You don't really get the chance to use your third pitch. You wouldn't want to run that risk. And Jeffress has a good changeup. I mean, it's rated as a good changeup anyway. Of course, we haven't seen it at the big league level. But both of these pitchers are projected to end up in the starting rotation. That one just missed. Bruce draws the walk. I can tell you one thing that the Brewers love about Jeffress is his mechanics.
Yeah, very true. Doesn't put a lot of pressure on that arm, and that is a pretty good eye for Jay Bruce. That's what I'm saying. Why not take it? Yeah, good chance you're going to He'll get first base on a 3-2 pitch.
So 2 men are out, and a runner at first. Here is Brandon Phillips, who's never been afraid of a good fastball. So Jeffers starts him with a curveball for a strike.
Yeah, there's that neat buckler right there. That's a nice curveball. They call it the old yellow hammer. Straight down, and Jeffers able to get ahead in the count with it. Now what are you thinking if you're Brandon Phillips? You don't know what's coming next.
Back to the screen. Bruce will end up at second base on a wild pitch. That is a lonely feeling behind the plate, with a 58-foot fastball coming your way at 98 miles an hour.
Yep, just at the edge, front edge of the plate, goes straight up, and well, Lucroy got a piece of it. You know he's happy about that. Country Joe.
There's Jim Edmonds.
Another guy with some playoff experience on this Reds ball club.
And finally healthy again. Been out with an oblique injury, but he's back in playing, and he's back available for Dusty Baker. Ball and a strike. Brandon Phillips up there with a runner at second. 5-2 Cincinnati. The Brewers in the 9th inning will have Gomez, Escobar, and Lucroy coming up. So if you're thinking about a rally and a few base runners, you'll get back to the top of the order, and the muscle will bat with runners on base. Three and one. And he walked him. So back-to-back walks after 2 outs. And Jeffers will deal with Orlando Cabrera, who's been a hot hitter tonight.
Man, talked about those nice clean mechanics. Not a whole lot of stress on the elbow, the shoulder, but once in a while you get into the big leagues, you get to the top of the order, you try and overthrow just a bit, and I think that's what's happening with Jeffers out there right now. Rick Peterson going out, calming him down. Go back to what you were doing in the beginning of the inning. It started out 2 outs, nobody on. Now back-to-back walks.
Rick Peterson, a quick visit to the mound. Don't forget, tomorrow we're back at it. Edinson Volquez against Dave Bush. It'll be a big start for Volquez. Wondering if he'll end up in the starting rotation for the postseason if they make it, or whether he'll go to the bullpen. So that'll be a key game tomorrow for Volquez. Bush trying to win his 8th. And looking for a bounce-back outing after they start in Houston. 2 on, 2 out. Here's Cabrera. Cabrera is 3 for 4 tonight, and he had the hit that started the rally in the 8th. 2 singles and a double for the slick fielding shortstop. Tomahawks that one into left field. Braun looks like he's got a beat on it, and he'll make the catch, and the inning is over. Jefferson scoreless 9th. Here comes Francisco Cordero to try to nail it down. come against Francisco Cordero.
Well, Cordero with those 36 saves. He has blown 8 saves this year. He's third in the National League in saves behind Brian Wilson and Heath Bell. Giving up runs in each of his last 2 appearances. Got a blown save and a loss against the Pirates back on September 12th. Picked up a save on the 15th.
So Cordero, the former Brewers closer, now in his 3rd year in Cincinnati. 3rd year of a 4-year deal. Dusty Baker came out publicly last week and stated that Cordero is his closer. Despite the 8 blown saves, he will stick with Cordero, the veteran closer. And he referenced Brad Lidge, who struggled closing games for the Phillies during the regular season last year and was flawless in the postseason. Save situation, Cordero deals to Carlos Gomez. It's Gomez, Escobar, or check that, Gomez, a pinch hitter, and then Lucroy. Looks like Matt Gamble will get the at-bat next. Cordero still has great stuff, a fastball in the mid to upper 90s, and his money pitch, that slider. But his slider hasn't been Cordero-like this year.
Yeah, he's hung it quite a bit this year, and there's a lot of times where he starts hitters off with it and just can't throw it for a strike.
Pop up. Foul territory. Votto makes a catch, 1 away in the 9th.
Yeah, that slider for Cordero, good put-away pitch. Most effective when it actually is not in the strike zone.
The Reds can push their lead in the division to 7 full games and a magic number of 6 with the win here tonight. Matt Gamble will bat. Had a big pinch hit at bat in Houston on the last road trip. This was Wednesday afternoon. Gamble delivered the double that gave the Brewers the lead. Extra inning pinch hit double for Matt Gamble.
And Matt Gamble 2 for his last 2. He got a base hit in San Francisco as well.
St. Louis lost earlier today. The Marlins shut him out. Volstad beat Carpenter. The Phillies hung on to win against Atlanta 3-1. So the Philadelphia Phillies now with a 4-game lead in the East.
They've won 8 straight.
Hot, red hot Philadelphia. They had a walk-off win last night or yesterday afternoon from Jason Worth. They have now won 17 of their last 20 games. The Phillies. As Gamble rolls to second. 2 outs. Our Menards player of the game tonight, Joey Votto. He broke the tie with a 2-run home run in the 8th inning. Scott Rowland would follow with a home run. And a 5-2 Reds lead after 3 runs scored in the 8th. And all of the Reds runs coming on the long ball tonight. Lucroy, the last hope. The Brewers have not had a base runner since the 5th inning. 13 straight retired by Cincinnati pitcher. While the Reds don't have that dominant ace in their starting rotation, they have a great bullpen, which could play big in the postseason.
And a lot of guys that have had a lot of experience out there in tough situations.
They've got velocity to burn in that bullpen, and they've only added to it with Aroldis Chapman. Guys like Massett and Cordero. Arthur Rhodes still gets it up there. Over in the American League, the Yankees hung on to win. They beat the Rays 8-6. So New York will add to their lead. They're up a game and a half in the American League East. And their elimination number drops down to 6. Sorry, Rock, magic number. It's magic.
It's okay.
The Twins won again tonight, 9-3. They beat the Indians. Twins are trying to finish with the best record in the American League. Lucroy swings and misses. The game is over as the Cincinnati Reds get one step closer to a berth in the postseason. Joey Votto, a 2-run homer. 5-2. Cincinnati wins it here tonight, as the Brewers drop the opener, and now Cincinnati has won 8 of 9 against Milwaukee this year. Let's check in with Craig Kashan in our Fox Sports Wisconsin set.
Well, Cincinnati grabs game 1 of this series, and they have won 8 of 9 in this season series now. Coming up, we'll hear from the Brewers' Ken Maka. Also look back at 2 of the bigger moments in Brewer history.